Hey, good morning, guys. Uh, let's start the class. In the previous classes, we discussed about like a scopes and for loop each. Okay, we completed the loops and everything, right? So in the loops, we have different types of loops like for loops, while loop, do while, and for each loop. So okay, we discussed everything with an access modifiers, and I also explained you about the string, but I just explained the small part of the string. But today we will discuss detailed about the strings in the Java. So why, what is important, and what is a string methods. We have different methods in that. Okay, so when you want to use that method, what is the different methods we have, and what are the different types of strings we can create. Okay, so as I said, we use the terminations in the Java. Okay, so terminations is like break. In the loops we use the break, right? So just like that, we have different types of terminations, so we can also use the terminations. Today we will discuss all about the strings and the terminations, and in the part 2 we will discuss about the JSP with the JDBC. Say what is the importance, just I will give the intro of that, and we will complete the class. Okay, so let me start the class with the strings. Now let me share my screen. Before going into that, if anybody tried with the for loops or any of the core subject, I said, right? So just if anybody tried anything, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay, at the last or in the break, or you can ask me now itself. Then I can start the class. Okay, if you didn't have any doubts, it's okay. Let me start the class. So today we will discuss about the strings. So what is a string? Basically, so we have a different data types in our Java. So in the primitives and non-primitives, there are two different types of data types. In the non-primitive, we are dealing with the strings and arrays and everything. Okay, just imagine like we have strings and arrays. So arrays I will discuss in the later, but today we'll discuss about the strings. Okay, so now let me share my screen. Okay, so on that day we discussed, right? Okay, string is in a sequence of the characters. Okay, so just we how to create the strings, I just discussed about this. Okay, so today we'll go in detailed version of the string. So strings in the Java. Okay, so basically a string is nothing but a characters. Okay, it's a collection of the characters, or we can call it as a sequence of the character also. A string in the Java is a sequence of the characters. Okay, and the strings are objects. Okay, so basically the string is in a class. Okay, in the Java the strings are the class. Okay, objects of the string class. We have a string class, so it's not just like a, it's not like arrays or something. Okay, it's just a class which has the objects. Okay, so strings, we can call it as like this also. Strings are objects of the string class. We have the string class. Okay, so on that day we created, right, object, where it is, yeah, here. See, this is in a class. String is in a class, so strings are the object of those string class. Okay, so which we are creating the strings. Now strings are also immutable. Okay, immutable meaning is we can't change that once we are created. Whatever you have created the string, we cannot change that. Okay, so once created, cannot be changed. So whatever the string you have created, that cannot be modified or changed. We can't do anything once the string is created. Okay, as I said, I have given examples to the creating that string also. Okay, so one of the basic is in a using by string literal method. Okay, by using the string, just give the data type and just select the variable, and you can declare the string in here. Okay, you can declare the string here, but you can also create by using the new keyword. Okay, you can create the object of this like this. Okay, string is in a class name, and s2, okay, equals to new. Okay, new string. So when we are like creating the object for the scanner class, right? So there we use the new keyword to create the object. So just like that, if you want to create the string in the object way by using the new, okay, you can use this method. Okay, new string hello. Okay, so these are the two ways. Okay, this is by using the new keyword, by using the new keyword, and this is basically we call it as a string literal. Okay, now this is how we will create the string, and this is about the string. Okay, string in the Java is nothing but a sequence of the characters, and there are object, they are object of the string class, and strings are immutable. So this is an important one. Okay, you should not forget about this. Okay, strings are immutable. So whenever in your real time or wherever, if they ask what about the strings, okay, you need to explain that string in the Java is a sequence of the characters, so which are objects of the string class, and they are immutable. So once we created, we cannot be changed. Okay, so in the strings we have a different types of methods. So important string methods we have. So when you created a string and when you want to apply the methods to that string, we have a different types of methods. Okay, so first one is like we have the length and the character operations. Okay, so when you are dealing with the, when you want to know the length of your string, okay, when or if you want the character at that particular indexes, okay, or if you want to know the character at what index it is. Okay, imagine like this. Okay, I have a string here. I have a string. Name. I will give the name as, okay, Radha. Okay, I just given the name as a Radha. Okay, so when I want to know the length of this particular string, when I want to know the length of that particular string, we have a built-in methods for the string class. Okay, we have a different string methods. So when you want to know the length of the particular string, you have to use the name. Okay, you have to use the, let me give it as like this. Okay, so when you want to know the length, we have to do whatever the name you have stored in a variable, you need to give that variable and give the dot length method. Okay, so that will give the output as a length of that particular string. Okay, length of the that string. Okay, so when you want to know the length of the string, you need to use the dot length method of this particular variable. So we are calling by creating the object of that class, okay, string class, and we are calling the methods actually. So methods are the functions. In the next class we will discuss about the functions. Okay, so today we'll go with the strings itself. So these are the method. Okay, for this you will get to know the length of this particular string. And when you want to know what is, see, in the strings, this follows in an order. Okay, so it start with the 0th index. At the 0th index we have r 1 2 3 4. Okay, so just like that it will be index. We have the index for the strings. Okay, so when you want to know at particular index what is the character, at a second index what is my character. Okay, this is a 0th, 1 and 2. At the 2 at the second index I have the d. Okay, so it will give it as a d. But when you want to get that character by using the index, okay, so you have to use a method. You have to use a method like a character at index. Okay, character index. You have to use name dot right? Here you have to give the index of that particular string. Okay, so wherever you want to get to find any character at a particular index, you need to give that string index value for that string. So here what we can say, character at particular index. Okay, index value, it will give you the character at that particular index. And we have the, and we can also found that index of a character in the reverse case. See what here, what we are doing here, we are giving the index as a 2. Okay, let me open my, okay, where we are in Java, change into my perspective. Now we'll deal with a project. One second, let me create my one class here. New class. Okay, public static void main finish. Okay, so now what I'm saying is I just taken one name, string name equals to some Radha. Okay, so when you want to find the length of the string, when you want to find the length of the string, what will say system dot out dot println of, so imagine like this. Let me take it out this. Here when you want to get the length, so here let me length name equals to, okay, name dot length. Okay, so these are all the methods we have in the string. Okay, when you want to get the length of that particular string, we use a length method. Okay, we use a length method, and it's asking me what type you are saying, what integer. Okay, so you can do it like this, or you can just simply give it, okay, 7. Okay, this is, it will give you the length of that particular string. Okay, so see, it's saying as a 5 characters I have, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so but when you want to know at the particular index what character I have, system dot out dot print ln of name dot character yet. Okay, so it, what it expecting from us, it are accepting from us index. Okay, index will be starting from the 0. Okay, index will starts from 0th index. So I want the character at a 3 index. What is my output? Okay, what is my output? Now we'll check. Before that, let me try run this. What is a character at 3? So the 0th index I have R, at first index I have A, at second index I have D, at third index I have H. So it will return you, it will return you the H value. It will return you the H value. So that is what I am expecting the output. See, giving the length, and after that it is giving the character at my index of given number. Okay, so now I will give you the character, and I want to know the what, at what index my character is present. Okay, print ln and name dot, okay, name dot. So now I will give the character as A or D. Okay, then I want to know at what index that character is present. So in that cases we have to use the index of the character. Okay, so there we have to use the name dot index of a particular character. Okay, of a character. So this will give you the index of the character. Okay, index of the particular character. So now here name dot index, see, index of, let me give you the D. Now what is my expected output? So at the what index my D character is present. So 0 1 2, at the second index my D character is present. Okay, it has to return the 2 as a output. Okay, let me say this and run this again. See, 5H and 2. Okay, so here we have two different ways to find out at what index we have and what is the character index. Okay, character at a particular index and the index of that particular character. You can find the in the two different ways. We have a different methods. So these are all the important methods we have to use in the string. Okay, and we have okay. Now, see, in the previous, if I given A here, okay, I have two indexes, okay, I have two index for the A, which is at the last and which is at the front, okay, which is at the last and which is at the front. So what index it might return? Here, I given A, it will give the index of this first A or the second A, okay, so we'll check it. Just let me run this. And Java application, see what it's returning. It's returning 1, which means 0 and 1. It's returning my first index, but not the last, whatever the middle one is there, right? So RADHA. So it's not giving my last the character. So in that cases, when you want to get the last character index, okay, last character index. So here we have to use last index of, okay, last index of A. So now it will return you the value, okay, which is nothing but 4. So let me save this and run this. Now we'll see. Okay, see at the first it giving the, when I use the index of A, it returning my first index of that character. Okay, when I use the last index of A, it returning me the whatever the characters we have. See, if I given A, okay, I just increase my string, run as Java application. So it's giving me whatever the last index of my A is present, it giving me that last one. Okay, so this is how we have to use in the length and the character operations when you are doing in the strings. Okay, when you are doing in the strings. Now, when you want to compare the two strings, okay, now here I have one string and I want to compare this with my another string. Okay, so here string, let me take it as a username. Let me take it as a username and I will give the username for that. Now I want to compare these two strings which are equals or which are not equals, and I want to ignore the case sensitives. Okay, so when I want to check these both are equals or not. Okay, when I want to dealing with the strings, I have a dot equals method. Okay, as I explained that in the JSP classes in the previous, but now we are dealing with the string, so I'm explaining it again. When you want to compare the two string values, we have to use the dot equals method. So now here system dot out dot println of, okay, so I have a name. That name has to be equals, okay, that name has to be equals to the username. Okay, so now, so whatever the name I have given, that has to be equals to Kaita Radha something is equals to or not. We are checking whether the name and the usernames are equals or not. But here the output will return you false because the both the strings are different. Okay, both the strings are different. Let me run this. Run as, sorry, I didn't save it. See, it returning as a false because the both name and usernames are different. If they are equal, then only it will give you the output. Let me give it here. Hello and hello. Okay. Now let me just imagine for a second what might be the output of that first output statement. Okay, I have given hello and the username also hello. Okay. So let me run this. and we'll see what might be the output. See, what is the output here? It is still false. Okay, it is still false. Why? Because here at the name, this is at the capital letter, okay, and this is at a small letter. So when you have used this equals method, okay, when you have used the equals method, it will check the values, okay, it will check the values exactly present or not, okay, exactly present or not. But when you want to check the value, but no, I don't want about the case sensitivity, okay, I don't want about the case sensitivity whether they are capital letters or small letters, but compare the values of that string. You need to use the you need to use the system dot println. Okay, so here you need to use the equals ignore case. We have one method called equals ignore case. Okay, so what it do is it will check the both the strings are equals or not irrespective of the case sensitivity. Okay, irrespective of case sensitivity. One second, guys. Sorry, guys. Where we are, I think we are discussing. Yeah. So now when you are comparing the strings, when you use the equals method, it will check it will compare the values. Okay, it will check the values are equals or not exactly with the case sensitive also. But when you use the ignore case, equals ignore case, it will check the values irrespective of the case sensitivity. Okay, now in this case, it will return you as a true. Okay, it will return you as a true. Okay, let me run this. Run as Java application. See, it returning as a true because when you are using the equals ignore case, it will recheck the values irrespective of the case sensitivity. And in any programming language, we have the ASCII values, okay, for numbers and the alphabetical orders and the special characters. Okay, when you want to compare the ASCII values, okay, if you know about the ASCII values, so well and good. But in the alphabets, in the programming language, we have the ASCII values for the characters and the special symbols and the numbers. So when you want to compare that, you have to use println, okay, name dot compare to, okay, compare to. This is a method where it will compare the ASCII values of that particular string. Okay, it will check the compare the ASCII values and it will return you whether the both the ASCII values are same or not. I think it didn't save it. Okay, so it's saying as minus 32 name dot compare to name. Okay, those will compare the ASCII values of the both the strings. Okay, so this is about the comparison. When you are dealing with the comparison of the string, we have to use the equals and equals ignore case. Mostly we use equals and ignore case, but in rarer cases we use this compare. Okay, when you are dealing in mostly in the interviews or when they ask about the ASCII values, we have to use this compare to when you they want to compare the two characters or strings. Okay, so mostly we use the equals and equals ignore case itself. Okay, so these are the comparison methods. Okay, so these are when we are dealing with the characters and the length, we have to use these methods. Now when you want to, okay, I said in the earlier also, string is an immutable. Okay, which means we cannot modify the existing string. Okay, we cannot modify the existing string, but when you want to get the some part of that string, okay, when you want to get the some part of that string, see, imagine, let me take here string s equals to programming. Okay, string s equals to programming. I just taken one string. Okay, in that I just want only the program. Okay, imagine like that, I need only program. I have a string and I want only the some part of that string. Okay, I want only the some part of the string. So I need to, what I need to do, I need to extract that string to from where to where. Okay, so in that cases, when you want to, okay, when you want some part of the string, you have to use a method called substring. Okay, we have a method called substring. So there, one second guys, let me comment out this. Okay, so system dot, from where I need, from this string, right? So from this string, I need the only from 0th index to, see, what is the index here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, till the sixth index, I need the strings. Till the sixth index, I need the string. So when you are giving, when you are taking the higher, okay, and it will not count the sixth character. Okay, we need to take the 7, because the at the last it will not take that character at the higher end. So now in the substring, so in the string I need the substring. Okay, we have a method called substring. Okay, so here you can give the beginning of that index, which is 0, and what is the end index? I want till this program. So here I am giving the index as a 7. Okay, so now what it will do, it will check, it will take from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm giving at the end of the 7th character, but it, this is the 7th one. Okay, this is at the 7th index. It will not take that 7th index character. It will take till the higher end of that index, which means till the 6th. Okay, so now my output will be, now my output will be program. Okay, let me save this and run this. See, what is my output? Program. Okay, so when you are dealing with the strings and when you want the substring of that string, I need only little part of that string, but I don't need a entire string. Okay, so there you can use a substring to extract the string. And modification. Okay, modification is nothing but when you want to change this programming into the upper cases, or when you have the uppercase string and you want to change it to the lower cases. We have a two different methods. So we have two uppercase and two lowercase. When you want to convert to the uppercase, you have to use a two uppercase. When you want to lower the string, you need to use a two lowercase. Okay, let me write it out here. See guys, why I'm saying each method this important is, it's very important when you are in the interviews. Mostly they deal with the strings itself. Okay, they will not go into this deep, but it is important to learn. Okay, so I'm just for the purpose, I am just going into the deep of each method I'm explaining to you. Okay, when I use s dot uppercase, so my entire s string will converts into uppercase. Okay, programming, so it will give the output as a programming. When I use same, okay, to the lower case. Okay, so it's already in the lower case. Let me change it one here. Okay, it's one of my letter is a uppercase. Now I want to change it to the lowercase. Entire string I want to change it to the lowercase. Now what it will be output? Programming. Okay. So when you want to deal with uppercase and lower cases, you can use this uppercase and lowercase methods. Let me save this. See, some part I extracted and some part the entire string I have uppercase and the entire string I have converted to the lower cases. Okay, see, and you are thinking this might change in the particular string, but it's not changing that string. Let me print it out that also for you. Okay, see, when I try to print it out only as after doing everything like substring substring and to the uppercase and to the lowercase, I'm performing all these operations, but it's not changing or it's not modifying any original string. Okay, string s will be just like that only, it is an immutable. Okay, so let me save this and run this again for you. Okay, Java application, c program, and it converted into uppercase and it converted into lowercase, but still it was unchanged as a s. Okay, by then why it's coming as a programming? It's creating a new string. Okay, it's creating a new string and returning us with a new string data, but it's not changing the original data. So that is the importance of the string. Okay, so you need to know about this string compulsory. Okay, and one more thing, I want to change this and I want to change the characters in this string. Okay, from pro I want to delete that pro and I want to add something. Okay, so here just it's replacing the characters. Okay, print ln of. So when you want to replace the characters from in the string, okay, you want to change that, so s dot replace, we have to use a replace, and here whatever the character you want, you give it there. Okay, and here the new character what you want to do. Okay, I want to give it as a fun. Okay, I want to give it as a fun, and we'll see what might be the output here. Now Java applications, see, program, initially my string is a program, now it is in a fun gramming. Okay, it is in a fun gramming. After replacing my string also, it will not change my original string. See, it's a fun programming is a replacing method, and still my s is a programming itself. Okay, so this is where we use modifications and substrings. Okay, when you're dealing with the substrings and the modification, you can use this different methods. Okay, now we will go with the trimming and checking part. Okay, in a string you want to trim the spaces. Okay, you have some spaces and you want to trim it the starting and the ending spaces, we have the trim method. Okay, and when you want to check that string, it is starting with some characters. Okay, and ending with some characters, and it contains some characters. Okay, so then you will have a different methods. Now let me go with that. Okay, so now here let me create one string. So why I can't create the same string here? Let me change this. Okay, I have one string which is hello. Okay, which is hello. Now let me give it here space. Okay, and let me give it here space, and let me write one more thing as a hello world, and let me add this, let me give the spaces at the end also. Okay, let me give the spaces at the end also. Let me print it out this first. Okay, of name, let me run this and print it out. Okay, so here see, it's printing with the space also. It's counting the space. It's giving the memory to that space also. But I don't need that space. Okay, remove the starting and the ending index. ending space in my name. Okay, so then you can use name dot trim method. Okay, name dot trim method. What it will do, it will remove the starting and ending space in the string. See, now there is no space at the starting and there is no space at the ending also. Okay, so we use the name dot trim to remove the starting and the last index spaces. Now, when I want to check whether this system dot out dot print ln is starting with some letters. Okay, so here I can use starts with. Okay, starts with. Now here I can check whether this is starting with the he or not. What it will do, it will check that string whether that string is starting with he or not, and it will give you the boolean output as true or false. Okay, it's saying as a false. Now let me change this character to he, and now let me run this again and see. Okay, it's giving me the false. Why? It's giving me the false. Why? Because it's not starting with the he, right? Because we have the space there. Now let me system dot out dot print ln name dot ends with. Okay, we have the ends with also. Let me give the space here. It is given the space and run this. See, it's giving me the true. Why? Because it's ending with the true. It's ending with the space. Now let me give the space here also and check it. We'll check with that. Java application. See, now true, true, because the space. Okay, it's starting with the space and ending with the space. Okay, there. Not only space, if you have remove this, let me change this. Okay, you have a certain string and you want to check whether that is starting with that string or not. So in that cases we use a string. Okay, so here again it's giving me the true because it's starting with the he. Okay, so just like that, when you want to check it with that, and you can do this. And when you want to check whether some characters are present in that string or not. Okay, some characters, I will give the characters as name dot. Okay, contains. Okay, we use a contains method. We use a contains method, and I will give name dot contains like r a. Okay, I'm just giving the characters are present in that string or not. Ra is present in that particular string or not. Okay, so let me run this and see what we have or not. So it's saying as a false because ra is not present in my string. Let me give it as or. Okay, save it and run as. Okay, it's giving me true because my var is present in my string. Okay, so this is how we have to check, and we have to trim the string values. And we also have split. Okay, so split is a different thing, we will discuss in separate session for that. Okay, so now we'll discuss about the string builder, and we have string buffer in the strings. Okay, string buffer and string builder in the string methods. So as I said, the string is immutable. Okay, so the string is immutable. So for that reason, to overcome that immutability, in the Java we have string builder. So which actually what it does is it creates the same string. Okay, it creates the same string, but it is an immutable. Okay, by using the string builder we can create a string which is mutable, and it is faster than basic string. Okay, so how to create the string builder and string buffer. Okay, we have the string builder and the string buffer. Both functions are like to create the strings which are mutable only, but in the string builder it is in a faster, but it's not a thread safe, basically we can say like that. But string buffer is a safer way. but it is in a slower one. So mostly we use a string builder, okay, to create the string with a mutable, okay, mutable qualities we have to create by using string builder. Okay, this is in a class, and let me create one object. Okay, string builder equals to new, you know, right, how to create the object, the class name again, and here you can give the string whatever you want. Hello. Okay, so this is now we can, this string we can mutable, which means we can change this particular string, because the string is immutable but string builder string is mutable. So now when I want to change this string, so when I want to add something like this, hello Aurora world, okay, think like that. I want to add at the last, okay, Aurora, I want to add the world. So now what I will do here, I have simple method sb dot. So I created object, right? So here I am using that method sb dot append. Okay, append. So here, whatever the string you want to add, you can add it in here. So it will change that original string builder string. So let's see. I will giving the world. Okay. Now let me print it out that original sb. Print ln of sp. Okay, now what might be the output here? Basically, here when we have the string and we modify it and we use some methods to it, but it didn't change the original method. Okay, it didn't change the original, whatever the string we have, it didn't change. But here we created the string builder because of the that modification functionality itself. We want to modify the string, so I use the string builder, which is in a mutable one. So here I just change my string, and here I want to print it out that string. See, we will see. Now, before that, let me do one thing. Before adding that, let me print it out what is the original string. Okay, so let me run this. See, at the first printout, it's saying as a hello Aurora. And after that, I have added the world. So it was changed to hello Aurora world. Okay, hello Aurora world. So this is how when you want to create the mutable string, we have to use a string builder, okay, and the string buffer also, but it's much slower, but the thread safe. String builder is mostly we use. So string builder is used to create the mutable strings. Okay, so this is about the strings today. Now we have the terminations. Okay, we have the terminations in the Java, which we already used in our loops. Okay, the terminations are when you want to stop the flow, or when you want to exit the flow, or when you want to skip any particular flow, skip the current iterations or something like that. Okay, so when you want to stop the entire program or terminate the entire program, terminating. Okay, so we have a different types of termination. So in that, the important one is a break. Okay, as I said to you in the where I use this in the switch there, right, and in the loops also we can use it, right? So it will exit. Okay, wherever you use the break, it will exit from that loop or the switch case. Okay, the switch cases. Okay, so wherever you use a loop, wherever you use a break, from that exact loop it will come out of that loop. Okay, from that loop it will come out of the loop. Now break is one point, and the continue. Okay, we have the continue termination keyword. So these are all the keywords. So continued keywords will, what it will do, it will skip. Okay, it will skip the current iteration of that flow. Okay, so now you are in one block. Okay, you are using like a for loop, and you are iterating to print it out from 1 to 5. Imagine like that. Okay, so when you have using the break, then it will give you the, it will come out of entirely, and it will not again loop through the for loop. But when you use the continue, if you are in one block of code, it will just skip that iteration, and it will start the for loop again. Okay, but not as the continue. Okay, it will not do the continue. Okay, so we have continue, and we also have the return keyword. Okay, we have a return keyword, so it basically exits from the method. So when we are dealing with the functions, you know what is the functionality, what is the importance of this return keyword. Okay, so when we are dealing with the functions, that class we will take in the mostly in the Friday or Saturday. So we'll discuss about that in that class. That is about the return keyword, and we also have one more called system.exit. System.exit. Okay, so 0. So now what it will do, it will terminate entire program. It will terminate entire program. When you want to terminate the entire program, you have to use the system.exit 0 to terminate the entire program. So return keyword, it will exit from that method. So continue will skip the particular iteration, and break will come out of the entire loop. Okay, so let me give one example to you now. One second. Let me give it here itself. Okay, so here, imagine I want to print it out from 1 to 5. So integer I equals to 1, initialization. I am doing initialization, and I'm giving one condition I less than or equals to 5, and I want to update right from 1 to 5, so I'm giving plus plus. Okay, so now I want to print it out from 1 to 5. Okay, imagine like that. Now here a system dot out dot print ln of I. Now what it will give, let me see. Run as Java application. So it printing from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So what I need is when the 3 reaches, okay, whenever the 3 reaches, I want to stop my loop. Okay, I want to stop my loop. Till the 3, I need the printing, but when the I reaches equals to 3, I need to stop. So here what I do, if I equals to 3, if I equals to 3, let me check it like this as break. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll check it. Run as application. See, it's printing only 1, 2. Why it's not printing everything? Okay, why it's not printing everything? Because what is the keyword we are using? Break. It will entirely come out of this entire loop. When you are using the break keyword, it will not go to the second iterations or third iterations. Here I'm just using I equals to 3, and it's using the keyword, then it will completely come out of the loop. It will completely come out of the loop. Out of the loop. Okay, but you don't need to completely come out of the loop. I just want to skip only the third number. Okay, from 1 to 5, from 1 to 5 I need to skip only the third number, and I want to print it out as it is 4 and 5. So in that cases you have to use the continue. Okay, continue keyword, what it will do, it will skip that particular iteration itself. It skip that particular I equals to 3 iteration, and then it will again start with the I equals to value. Okay, so let me save this and run this. See what it's doing. It's not completely coming out of the loop, but it's just skipping at the third. Okay, when I equals to 3, it's not printing, and it's skipping to the next level, which is I equals to 4, and it's printing. Okay, this is the difference between the break and the continue. Okay, it will just skip the current iteration. It will skip the current iteration only. Okay, but break will come out of the entire loop. Okay, it will come out of the entire loop. So this is about the strings and string methods and the terminations we have in the Java. Now we'll go with the JDBC in. Okay, JDBC intro. I will give small intro. So till then, just take a 2 minutes of a break. Okay, just 2 minutes of the break. And if you have any doubts regarding anything, you can ask me. Okay, just 2 minutes of a break, right? Yeah. Okay, guys, come back. So today, now we discuss about the JDBC. It is an important topic in our web applications. Okay, when we are dealing with the development of our dynamic web projects. Okay, like web applications, we when you want to. Okay, what is the JDBC? Let me give the clear. Okay, so what is actually JDBC is it's a Java database connectivity. The see where's so this is a basic syntax. Actually, we discussed about the previous classes, but now what is actually JDBC? So JDBC is nothing but Java database connectivity. Okay, so when you want to connect the database to the when you want to connect the database through the Java, we need the JDBC. Okay, when you want to perform the database operations, okay, database operations in our JSP, we need the JDBC. Okay, what is actually database? Okay, do you guys know what is actually database? So database is nothing but when we are dealing with the real-time applications. Okay, we have a Facebook. Okay, so we have the Facebook. So when we registered in that Facebook, the data, where is the data is going of our personal information? It was going and storing in the database. Okay, database is nothing but it's a storage where the data is all the personal informations, and it's a collection of the data of a personal of their applications. Okay, they might be storing in the database. They have different types of a database, okay, in the market, like MySQL, MongoDB, Postgres. There are different types of database, but when you want to connect it with your program, okay, when you want to connecting with that program, okay, we need the Java database connectivity. So basically it is an API. Okay, it is an API that allows, it is an API Okay, it is an API that allows Java programs to connect and interact with the databases. So we can connect to the database and we can interact with the databases by using JDBC only. Okay, by using JDBC only, which allows the Java programs to connect and interact with the databases. Okay, connect and interact with the databases by using JDBC only. From our program we can connect it to the database and we can interact with the databases. Okay, so in the databases we store the customer information. Okay, when you're dealing with the products, okay, we will add the product with some details, so that details, all every detail will be stored in the database. Okay, to insert the data into the database by using the program, we need the JDBC to connect with our database. Okay, so that is the JDBC importance. So it works. Okay, it works with the SQL queries. So whatever the SQL queries are there, so like a select, CRUD operations like insert, delete. So we have the SQL queries. So it will works with the SQL queries inside the Java, which means the JSP. Okay, in the JSP page, we by using the JDBC, we'll connect with the database and interact with the database. So by using SQL queries, by using SQL queries. Okay, so as I said, I explained to you why JDBC is important in the JSP. Okay, JSP is nothing but is JSP using for the web applications. Okay, so when we want to develop a dynamic web applications, we are using the JSPs to make the web pages, which means web applications is what, it's a dynamic web applications. Dynamic means what? When we are dealing with that web applications, it has to be dynamic, which means when I request something, it has to be respond with some data. Okay, so which means dynamic. When the application is interacting with us, it's saying as a dynamic and the data driven. Okay, so when the client is registering in my application, it has to store his data. Okay, it has to store his data. So for that reason we need to connect with our program with the database. So that is why in the JSP the JDBC is important to make our web pages dynamic and the data driven. Okay, so basic examples are like login systems and registration forms and the product catalogs. So all these we need in the database. Okay, so all the data of the products and the customers we need to store in the database. So database is nothing but the collection of the data. Okay, which is in the tabular columns, which is okay in the MySQL, those will be stored in the relational databases. Okay, so all the data in the stored in the databases. Okay, and this JDBC is act as a bridge. Okay, this is a bridge, basically think like that. Okay, it will bridging between the JSP and the database. Okay, so which is connecting the program to the database. So it's actually bridge. Okay, so it's bridge between JSP and the databases. Okay, and the JDBC architecture we have. Okay, so JDBC architecture in what everything we need in the JDBC architecture is, one is driver manager. Okay, one is driver manager. Okay, so which manage all the database drivers. Okay, in the JDBC architecture we have a driver manager, so which manages database drivers. Okay, so database drivers. And we have the connection class. Okay, we have the connection class which represents, okay, which represents database connection. So when you want to connect with a particular database, you need to use the connections. These are the important things in the JDBC. Which one? Driver management and the connection. And we also have the statement and prepared statement slash prepared statement. So here you have use a driver manager to manage the driver managers, and then you connected with the database. Okay, so now what you know to do, you have connected with the database. Okay, but you need to interact with the database, right? You need to interact with the database, and here you are using the SQL queries to interact with the database. So that SQL queries has to be executed by this prepared statement and the statement. Okay, execute SQL queries, or you can say queries. Okay, so when you want to execute that SQL queries, you need the statement and the prepared statements. Statement and the prepared statements are used to execute your queries. And one more important thing, we have result set. Okay, so result set. So when you are interacting with these queries, either you send the data or you will retrieve the data or modify deleting something else. Okay, but when you are retrieving the data from the database, which means when you are calling the data from the database, it will result you the data. Okay, so I want a particular customer details with some data, with some ID. Now what it will do, it will return the data from the database to our program. Now what we need to do, we need to store that result, right? We need to store the query result. So for that reason, to store the query result, we use the result set. Okay, we use a result set to store the query result. So when we are retrieving the data from the database and we need to store it in our programs, right? So we use the result set to store the query result. So what we need to do, we need to create the object for all these. Okay, for the connections, for the prepared statements, and for the result, we need to create the objects, and we can use that object to connect with the database and interact with the database and to store whatever the results the database is retrieving. Okay, so this is the importance of the JDBC. Okay, and this is the important architecture of the JDBC, and this is the definition and why we use the JDBCs. Okay, there is a different steps to connect with the JDBC. Okay, first we need to load the drivers and establish the connections and create the statements like prepare a statement or a statement, and then we need to execute the queries. And while executing the query, we have to use the result set to store the information what it is retrieving. Okay, then we can process the result by using the object of that result set. Okay, so one by one we can retrieve the data and we can process the data, and at last again we will close the connection. Okay, so this I will show in the next class. Okay, we will create one form and we will connect with the database, and we will store the data in the database, and we'll see. Okay, we'll retrieve the data. So the importance of the JDBC is it will enable the dynamic content of our application, which means it will directly, data will be directly from the database. It will directly send to the database and it will retrieve from the database. So reusable with any database like MySQL, Oracle databases, Postgres database. Okay, so the forms, when we are using the forms, so backbone of the enterprise web pages, right? So when we are using login forms, registration forms, so these are all the forms we use in the banking sectors. Okay, in the e-commerce sectors, they use mostly forms. Okay, to take the data from the user and store it in the databases. So that is the importance of the JDBC. It is a very important thing. So we should not miss any point in the JDBCs. Okay, so this is about the today's class, guys. And if you have any doubts regarding anything, let me know. Or if everything well and good, you can drop off from the class. And thank you. So we will in the next class we will deal with the database connections and everything. Okay, thank you. If anything, anybody anyhow, you can raise, or if everything is good, thank you.